Hey YouTube, Adam Hodgson here for another Airsoft video review. Today I have a sidearm review for you. This here is the KJW / ASG CZ P-09 pistol. The reason why I said it's both is it's manufactured by the guys KJW, but all of the licensing has gone through ASG. They've put that very clearly all over the box, so you definitely can't get it wrong. There's a couple of different variants of this. This is the duty version. I've changed the outer barrel on this, but we're going to get to that more in later. But mainly with regards to the frame, you can get a few different options. With regards to this, I've got the two-tone one because I thought it looked cooler than just the standard flat colour. You can also get one that's full black and other kind of changes as well. But I went for the tan version because it looked really cool. I saw this at an ASG stand actually, where they were showing off this and the Scorpion Evo at the AI 500 last year, which was a pretty good event. And I saw this and fell in love with it instantly. So I knew that I had to have one. Later on down the road, I picked one up from my local shop that were able to order one in for me, and it came in its own funky carry case, which was kind of cool. Saved me having to go out and buy one. Inside of it, normally I don't care about this kind of stuff, but you get a cutout for the pistol as well as a cutout for one pistol mag. I've cut out an extra space for a suppressor of mine, which just makes it look cool, and then other mags as well, so I've got plenty and everything's all in the one box. So the pistol itself is a rather large kind of full frame thing. With it being quite big, you're actually looking at a very similar size to a 1911. The really good thing about it is quite chunky towards the front, so it gives you a nice good purchase on the weapon, but yet it's quite thin and slim on the very back, so it does look a bit unusual. So with regards to metal parts, for those of you that do mind, pretty much everything that's black on this pistol is metal. So we're talking slide, outer barrel, obviously you've got your internal stuff, your hammer, your sight systems, your safety, your slide lock, your trigger, and your mag release. Whereas everything else that is this sort of tan, sand, desert kind of colour is pretty much plastic, so mainly lower frame. It is a double action weapon, also single action, so it means that when the hammer is down, you can squeeze the trigger and it will fire, but you can also have it with the hammer back and fire away as well. One thing that I have noticed with this though is if it is right here and have it in double action, occasionally if you squeeze the trigger slowly or even go fast at perfect timing, the hammer will stay all the way back. So at the minute my finger is right away to the really rear. It's not going to fire. You have to then release some pressure. It's not gone off. Try again. So that can be a bit of an issue, but if you have it in single action mode, it goes off every time without fail. Whether that is, you know, on all of the guns or if it's just this particular one, I'm not too sure, but something to bear in mind. But other than that, it's quite nice. You get a nice soft trigger, but your reset is very subtle actually. It's not a very loud reset, and you've got just a little bit of play before it engages. Not massive, but when you're getting off those quick shots, having a short trigger reset can help. It's quite good actually, it's quite good. Your magazine release is a standard affair. Push the button, your mag drops out, but it's also going to give you a nice positive click sound when it's in, so you know that the magazine is properly seated, and it ejects very quickly, and away you go. Magazine wise, there are these rather large sort of mags that you get here. They'll hold up to 26 rounds, double stack configuration, green gas powered, and they're also coated very nicely with regards to their paint. I've reloaded quite a lot because I do change out my mags. Very little scratching to them. Doesn't really matter, to be honest, but the thing that's really impressive is because they're so soft and smooth, they do give you a good quick, meant to do that, a good quick eject. Towards the very bottom as well, you can remove the base plates just again by putting down on the little tab and sliding it off, so it makes it a lot easier to fill up. One thing that I have noticed though, so I'm just going to pull it off part way here, is the base plates are plastic. They're not amazing. They are quite thin. They are quite flimsy. So don't think even for a second that you can do those really cool reloads and just drop your mags on the floor. The base plates break. I have good evidence of that. I've broken some of mine. Even this one here that I'm showing you now is cracked. So make sure that if you do ever reload, you're reloading with retention. Hold on to it, unless you want to be constantly buying new base plates directly from KJW. So one thing to look out for. Otherwise, gas efficiency is pretty good on a green gas weapon. So with regards to more on the actual pistol itself, you've got nice textured grips, sort of noodle-like kind of patterning, and you are able to remove the rear section here so you can customize the grip if you need to. I've not seen any of the extra grip pieces sold separately. To be honest, this fits my hands quite perfectly, and I've got moderately large hands, but it gives me a nice positive grip all the way around. Your trigger guard is even shaped with little ridges on the front, as well as on the actual side itself you've got bits just to the side, so it gives you a nice positive place to rest your fingers when you're not shooting, so you can get that good consistent grip. You've also got your safety here, which will only engage once the hammer is all the way back. Flick it up and your safety will engage. Flick the safety down and then it will disengage and you can fire the weapon. It's an ambidextrous safety, so it is available on both sides, which is a really cool feature. And you've also got next to it your slide lock right here, so when the weapon is empty it will lock back. Put a new mag in, hit the button and away you go. It's quite a nice big chunky extended slide release, so it's very easy to reload. Hit it with your thumb and you can do it, or if you're that sort of person that does it with your shooting hand, it's very easy to again reach that. So for those slide reloads it's really good. Or you can just bypass it altogether and you can power stroke the weapon. So if you're the sort of person that likes to do that, you've got the option too. Sights, you've got your standard 3-dot affair. Not sure if you're going to be able to see that particularly well. So you've got your 2 dots at the rear and 1 at the front. And then you do have trademarks that are all over it. So you've got the actual CZ logos on both sides of the grip. On the left side you've got your legit markings. So it does have designed in the Czech Republic just up here. And you've got CZ P-09 and then again the CZ logo. The right side of the weapon pretty much shows that it's Airsoft. So you've got the ASG logo just towards the trigger assembly and the hammer. Then you've got the 6mm caliber here and then made in Taiwan. Trades are good, they're not amazing, but they're okay. And then you've got the serrations there. It's front and rear serrations. The rear serrations are nice and deep, they're really easy to get a hold of. The front serrations aren't particularly deep, so you may find that your fingers like that slip off and it can cause an issue, especially if you're wearing gloves or you're in wet conditions. It can cause a couple of issues. It would have been nicer if they'd made these indentations here a little deeper, would have been easier to charge the weapon. But what also makes it slightly difficult, which is also an upside of the weapon, this is going to have to be your personal opinion, is the slide itself. The slide actually sits in the frame. So as opposed to another pistol, so say I look at the M9, which I have here, the entire slide just kind of rides atop the frame. Whereas if we go for the CZ P-09, the slide actually rests inside the frame. What that means is that when you have your hands on the weapon and you go to aim, your fingers are naturally aligned a lot closer with the bore of the weapon. So it's going to make it easier for those quick pointing shots. It's also a lot easier to control with a real firearm. With regards to the Airsoft pistol, it doesn't have that much kick anyway, but it's nice because it gives you that little bit extra control. The downside of it is it does make it a bit awkward when charging the weapon, because I'm used to this personally, grabbing a hold of the entire slide, which in this case is quite small. Now on the very front of this, I've actually changed over the outer barrel. As standard, the duty version will come with a nice flush system to it. So if I just grab the manual here, I'm not going to show you through the manual, God no. So this is a picture of it here. It's normally right flush against it. Because I figured it would look cool, I contacted KJW personally, and they were very nice enough to sort me out with a new outer barrel. So I changed this over very easily. So I removed the included thread protector. You get your standard thread on here so you can put on mock suppressors and such. Here's one that I picked up. It is one of the Lilacs. I believe it's mode 2. It's actually counterclockwise and regular clockwise one, so you can put it on just about any weapon. So I can now slide this on. It does have foam in the middle, so it does suppress your shots ever so slightly. And you've got to admit, that looks something kind of cool, doesn't it? The reason why I've gotten this particular one is because it's very small. It's not going to sit much higher than the sights, so even if you aim down the sights, you can still see them really clearly, as opposed to having it completely blocked. So it's quite a nice feature, and for an extra couple of pounds, just getting the outer barrel and changing it over is no problem at all. So just something kind of cool, and I've cut out inside of my little box here so you can see a little space for the suppressor as well. So it looks really cool. Now, one thing that I have noticed with this, as cool as it is, you're going to hold 26 rounds. On a very cold day, it is not very gas efficient at all. If you're in warmer climates, no problem at all. You'll be able to fire every single BB in here. The slide will lock back and you're fine. Here in the UK, our weather is a bit colder. We don't particularly get very good weather, and yeah, it's caused a couple of issues. It is a bit more gas efficient than some of the other pistols that I've owned, but it's definitely not up there in the top 10, I wouldn't say. Still very, very good little pistol. Okay, so we're going to do the firing test now of the CZ P-09 pistol. I've added on my mock suppressor just for shits and giggles, but I'll remove it so you can kind of see the difference. Nice thing about this is, again, it's green gas powered, so it's very, very easy to do. So it's just, again, put your safety gear on if you're going to fire an airsoft gun. So I have one round in the chamber, magazine's out, mag in. So let's just do a couple of shots here. So it's on double action mode. Just squeeze the trigger slowly. There's your shot, no problem. Wait for the reset, very subtle click, and away you go. So it's quite nice, and then as you can see, all your follow-ups there are nice and short. It's just remove the suppressor. Now, because I've got the thread protector off at the moment, you get a little bit of a meatier sound to it. A little bit more on the metallic side, but if you put the thread covers on, it then goes back to sounding just like it would. But again, when you fire the pistol dry, slide will lock back, you can eject your magazine. This is the same one I've just put in. Slap your mag in, hit the slide release, slide will go forwards, or if you have the weapon with a fresh mag where you've actually got BBs in it, you can pull the slide back and power straight the weapon. Now the really cool thing is, the weapon is empty, just take these off. The really cool thing about this is I have at the moment just the green gas magazines for it. You can also purchase CO2 mags. What you will notice with this is if you change between green gas mags and CO2 mags, you're going to get the standard power difference, with green gas being a lot lighter and your CO2 mags hitting a lot harder. But because of that extra power, it's also going to affect your hop-up, so you are going to need to change it over if you're using one of the two. So it's worth bearing in mind. But if you're looking for something that you can use for both indoor and outdoor, it's really nice that you can get the CO2 mags to go along with this as that added extra. What's also really nice about this is that if you want to, you can add on flashlights, lasers, all kinds of things on your 20mm Picatinny rail. So if you wanted to use it as a primary weapon, you probably could do. I wouldn't use it. I prefer my rifle or my shotgun. But you could have that laser light kind of combo going. You could have the suppressor and then go boom. And there we go. So that's a review of the CZ P-09 pistol by KJW or ASG. Overall, quite a nice little pistol. Like I said, if you're in those hotter climates, this is going to give you no trouble at all. If you're here in a colder climate like the UK, bear in mind that in cold weather, most gas guns are not going to be the best thing in the world. But it will hold its own. It will hold its own quite nicely. But given the ability to change over to those CO2 mags, if your sight allows you to use CO2, you can quickly switch out, more power, better gas efficiency, even in the cold. So that was a review of the KJW CZ P-09 pistol. Check it out, you can buy it from a lot of different airsoft retailers. And bear in mind as well, when you get it, if you have a look around, you can get it with your included case to make your lives just that little bit easier.